The secret to improving on defense in CFP 26 is simply building a defensive scheme that you're capable of running against every offense in the game. Luckily for you, in this video, I'm breaking down the complete guide to the 3-2-6 defensive playbook, including RPO defense, the best defense settings, and so much more that you're absolutely not going to miss out on. So let's jump right into it. The first thing that you need to be able to do on defense is take away the offense's strength. RPOs are super easy to abuse, and I have a great way for you to not only tell that RPO is coming, but also I'm going to show you how to stop them. All right, so when we're on offense, what you're going to notice is for a majority of these RPO plays, if you look at that button of the halfback, most of the time he's going to be A. Okay, and so he's going to be A, sometimes he'll be RB, sometimes he'll be Y, but on a lot of these plays you see he's the A button, which would be X on PlayStation, all right? And so really you're just looking for that. Now, you're not going to be able to see the offense buttons when you're on defense until you do something very specific that I'm going to show you here, but you're going to see gun trips Y over, RPO read bubble. RPO bubble is one of the most common in the game, but what you're going to notice is, again, when they call the play, the halfback is going to be that A button, and so all we're going to do to basically be able to see their buttons and get that tell, because you saw it, like when he's A, I would say 95% of the time it's an RPO, but when he's not A, you can still see it can still be an RPO. But all you want to do, check to see, is he A, because then you know it's RPO. So how you're going to do that is you're going to press D-pad to the right twice. And then you're going to press one of these linebacker icons, X or A here. I'll just go with X. Then you're going to flick the right stick up to open the man coverage menu. So now you can see basically you're into the menu that allows you to man up your X linebacker onto one of their passing threats here. And so now we can see the offense's buttons, and that's going to tell us that the halfback is the A button here. And so really you don't need to man up the halfback. All I'm doing is getting this check. Okay, boom. Running back is A, so now I know it's an RPO. So now I close this menu, and now I know it's an RPO. So obviously if they're in a trick formation, the most likely play here is going to be an RPO bubble. So I'm going to call cover 3. I'm going to put hard flats on the field, and I'm going to now man up their X receiver, or the guy that's probably going to be getting the bubble. Whoever I think the most likely be getting the ball on these RPOs from a different formation, that's who I'm manning up. And then of course I'm going to pass to my defense to make sure that these guys aren't looking into the backfield on these RPOs. So now we're going to take the snap right here, and you're just going to see how this man is sitting right there to break on that RPO and play very great defense, because again, you have two guys looking at that RPO. You have this hard flat defender right here looking to stop this RPO, and then you also have this man coverage defender right here looking to stop this RPO. So boom, they throw it out there, and we're ready to just go make this play and this tackle. I mean, like, it doesn't get any easier than this. The only thing that you really need to get better with is mastering your ability to make these adjustments as fast as possible, all right? So again, I'm in a cover 3. I'm going to do the check. Boom, all right, C A. Now I'm going to man up their guy. Boom, X is manned up. Then I'm going to hard flat. Then I'm going to pass commit. Again, it doesn't really take that long once you start to pick up on it, but it's like every time they're down in the red zone, you need to be ready to stop these RPOs, of course, but also you have to be ready to stop the run, which is, again, just looping around and trying to shoot gaps. Obviously, like you see right there, when you have two controllers like I do, or you're just not good with run defense, they can still just punish you on the ground even though you stop their RPO. Right, so again, I'm going to do it a little bit better right here, loop all the way around, and then you're able to make that play at the point of attack. So really to stop the run, you're just using gap shoot defense, loop around the offense line, make a play in the backfield. And as far as stopping the pass aspect, make sure you do that RPO check by checking to see is the running back A on Xbox, X on PlayStation, and then man up and set up RPO defense, just like I showed you. All right, being able to stop RPOs is cool, but if they pass the ball and you're not using the right defensive settings, your zones could come out misaligned, or they could just not play at the right spots at all. Let me show you the best defense settings to use right now. All right, so these are some settings that I haven't talked about recently. We're going to come into game options. We're going to come into settings, all right? And you're going to scroll down until you find gameplay helpers. Now, these are the settings that you need to be using. You want to make sure these are the important ones. Heat seeker assist needs to be on with your window at least at 100%. Don't turn it below 100. Essentially, this is going to allow you to gap shoot runs in the backfield like I'm about to show you in a second. But you want to make sure that you have your switch to delay on none and your switch assist on. Those are going to be very important. But what I'm talking about with gap shooting here and why you need to have that setting turned on is if I take this linebacker right here, Wilson, and I stand 4 yards over the guard on the halfback side, I'm going to be able to loop around and gap shoot this run where they're going to call an inside zone run. And because I'm standing in the correct spot, I'm going to just be able to take the snap, loop around, and I'm going to get that Superman dive animation. Now, the reason why you want to have your window set, as high as you feel comfortable, anything over 100 is, look at this. When you do this Superman dive, you're going to be able to cut out the legs of these ball carriers. Right here, I slightly miss a little bit, so certainly takes practice, especially if you're holding two controllers like I am right here. But it's like, if you can just stand right here, take the snap, loop around these guys, and wow. I mean, I'm getting the Superman dive, and that's really what it is. You're going to see it if I can get it here in a second, where you're going to be able to just cut out the legs of the ball carrier, and it's going to make run defense a whole lot easier. So again, boom, right there. I mean, you're able to see that these are back. Sometimes the backside linebacker can make a play, or the defensive end, and that's still valuable for you because you're trying to force these ball carriers to cut back. So right here, I'm just going to, there we go. I'm going to get that Superman dive, and so that's why having your heat seeker on, at least on 100%, is going to be so helpful, because you would never be able to make this play and basically suction onto this ball carrier, cut out his legs, and bring him down if you didn't have that on. So that's a very important setting, and that's why, I mean, no one really talks about the heat seeker, but it's not just gap shoots on run plays, it's making tackles in the open field. Pretty much everything that heat seeker assists is going to help you out a lot. But obviously, we come to some of these coaching adjustments here where we have auto flip on, cornerback matches on balance, defense and motion response on disabled. These are all going to help your alignment a lot on defense, like I mentioned in the intro, right? And then you're going to make sure your RPO passing and conservative here. And then I would recommend zone drops. These can change throughout the game, and you should be kind of playing around with these with flats on default, curl flats on 5, hooks on default. If you don't want to change them around, you could start the game in these and you're going to be perfectly fine. Safety depth on close, safety width on pinch, only if you can do it. And what I mean by that is if they have takeoff on the receivers, or the receivers are just way faster than your DBs, right? Georgia on Alabama, I would feel comfortable doing this. But like if I'm using Georgia State against Bama, we're not. We're going to leave it on default because we don't want to get ran by. We're going to be able to take away these seam passes, and we're going to be able to get back there. Again, because our safeties are competent speed-wise, they're actually going to be able to get back there and recover on these routes. And even if they just try to look right up the seam, you're just going to see how our safeties are closer to the line of scrimmage, and they're going to be able to take away those throwing windows. So those are the best defense settings. You need to make sure that you have heat seeker, assist turned on to at least on 100%. Make sure it's turned on so you can get those suction tackles in the backfield on ball carriers, but also make sure you have those, coaching adjustments set up by flicking or by pressing the right stick in at the play call menu. All right, probably what you've all been waiting for, maybe what you clicked on this video for, you want to see a glitch blitz that's going to allow you to get the quarterback on the ground in a hurry. Let me introduce you to one of the best ones right now from the nickel 3-3 man formation in this 3-2-6 playbook. All right, so that blitz that I'm going to be talking about here is going to be linebacker cross 3 show 2. If you guys played CFB 25, you guys might know about this blitz, but I have found a way in this game to make it really great, and it's not just this regular blitz that we were running last year. Really what you need to do to make this blitz glitchy, I guess, is you're going to shift your linebackers to the right. So now it's going to look something like that. That linebacker is going to move over to the contain, and now you're going to have this middle linebacker just standing right in the middle, and he's just going to blitz. Now, really what makes this great is when you obviously pass commit your defense to make your blitzes better, allow your guys to get off the ball faster, and pretty much all the benefits that come with pass committing. But you also want to make sure you're only pass committing when you really think they're passing, because obviously it can make your run defense a lot worse. But what we're going to do right here is we're just going to have them take the snap. All right, we're going to have them take the snap right here, and you're just going to notice how we're going to just be able to get that pressure on the quarterback. Now, Obviously, it changes, right, if they're going to, depending on the pass protection type that they use. Some people like to use base, some people like to use empty, right? Sometimes some people don't use either, and their offensive line blocking just sucks. But it's like no blitz is going to be every time. You're just trying to give yourself the best possible chance right here. Boom, we're going to have them take the snap, and you're just going to notice how that time that man's going to come in free. This blitz is very, very good when they decide to use empty protection, right? And empty protection, again, one of the two pass protection types. And so it's like if you can catch them in empty, this is something that you certainly want to be calling, want to be mixing in. Obviously, my 326 ebook has other defenses that are more, also geared towards base protection and beating that. So it's like you're going to have an answer for everything that they're going to try to go to here. So again, pass commit that defense. You're going to notice how that guard here, 56 on the left side, is going to be blocking absolutely nobody, and it's going to be a huge problem for them. Essentially, he's going to turn outside to double team right here. Then he's going to probably look back inside, but you see how he's touched no one on this entire play? Like, he's literally touched nobody. He hasn't even done, he hasn't done anything. Quarterback's already in the ground by the time he makes first contact with a guy, and that's really going to be the huge issue for them. Again, you don't even have to do anything with getting the attention of the offensive line here. He just flies right in free, and I'm over the middle of the field with Bray Hubbard, whoever this player is for you, to be able to take away a dig route, to be able to take away an out route, whatever they're calling over the middle of the field. So when you have a blitz like this that can go get the quarterback on a routine basis, it becomes a very, very valuable one for you. But we're going to go ahead and have them block their running back right here, and you're just going to notice how it's going to be the same thing, where it's like, okay, if they're going to use empty protection, or sometimes even if they just block their running back, he's just going to walk in completely free, and then the running back going to step up to block him right here, because you see these two guards double team for no reason, and then this allows him for him to come in free. And as I talk about all the time, halfbacks have almost no chance against linebackers, and against, safeties, linebackers, defensive ends. They're just going to get punished because they're way weaker and way smaller than these guys. Instant shed, quarterbacks on the ground, sack, fumble. And again, the best part is I'm still back over the middle of the field of my user. You don't have to use a rush. You don't even have to get the attention of the offensive line. So that's why I say this is one of the best glitch blitzes in the game here from nickel 3-3 men, and one that you really need to start using in your next game. All right, so if you've enjoyed this defensive breakdown so far from the 326 playbook, make sure you go down below and hit that subscribe button. I break down defensive tips and tricks just like this every single day here on College Football 26, and you're not going to miss out on any of the content that I drop. But if you want my full 326 defensive ebook with even more money plays, glitch blitzes, coverage shells to dominate in defense with full write-up, screenshots, and breakdowns, go to the link down below in the pinned comment. You can use code YouTube to get 20% off. I guarantee this ebook will change the way you play defense and solve pretty much all your problems, because I'm continuing to update it as the meta changes. Let's jump right back into the video. All right, I know a lot of you guys don't actually like making adjustments on defense, right? All these pro players show you a whole bunch of different adjustments that you need to make, and your fingers aren't fast enough. Let me show you a simple coverage shell that's really great right now. All right, and that play here is going to still be from nickel 3-3 mint, and we're going to come into cover 3 cloud. The reason why this coverage shell is so dangerous is if you can use safety depth on close with your width on pinch. Against a lot of formations, this really just looks like man coverage where everyone's aligned, across from the receivers. And so you're going to be able to confuse a lot of offensive players. That's really the first benefit here. But again, you don't have to make any adjustments with this defense. If you want to, you can shift your D-line in one direction and then use, a custom stunt like the right Tom 2-man, right? That might give you a little bit more extra pressure. But I'm going to have them call a random pass play right here, and we're going to come into cover 3 cloud, like I said, because that's really the benefit. You're going to be able to disguise your defense. You can use custom stunts right here. I'm going to use the left exit 2-man. And so really you're just trying to switch stick around depending on the route concept that they call. So again, boom, they're going to take the snap. I don't even know what plays they're calling, but you're going to see how we're going to be able to get that stunt. We're able to take away their crosser. Sometimes you don't even need to switch stick. Like if they call bad plays, right, you don't really need to switch stick, but you're going to be able to see how this stunt, this is what I'm talking about. It's only a 4-man rush. We're just able to combine it with a stunt. We're able to get our defensive end to come in free, so the running back picks him up. And as I talk about all the time, running backs have no chance at the point of attack against these guys. You can see how I mean, right here, they actually max protected against a 4-man rush, and they instantly get screamed at. So it's like, you have great power right here to sometimes not even blitz them, to literally just sit in coverage defenses and take advantage of the fact that you have better pass rushers than them possibly, or you're using a custom stun that they don't know how to block. So again, right here, I know what play this is from cluster, right? So boom, we're gonna switch stick and we're gonna be everywhere on this. They happen to call screen. So it really doesn't matter the type of plays that they're calling. Boom, take it. This is another screen pass. And so it's important to snuff out screens, right? They're kind of easy to see because the line just gives it away off the rip. But it's like, I mean, you have to be ready to stop it. So right here, we know what play this is. We're ready to switch stick and we're able to come down and take everything away as Gunner Stockton is getting sacked. So it's like, you don't have to actually make adjustments on defense, right? You can just work on your switch stick game, switch stick around depending on the route concept they call, and you're going to be perfectly fine on defense. Perfect switches right there. We're able to take everything away. There's so many times where you're going to get user interceptions simply because your switch stick game is on point and you're making plays with your user. Boom, we're going to come take this away. We're here, and we're able to take everything away while Gunner is still in the pocket. So it's like, switch stick is really the name of the game. If you're not going to make adjustments on defense, you really need to work on your switch stick game, and that's going to be your question. BLT, how do I work on my switch stick game? I'm not that great yet with it. Well, come into practice mode, spy off the pass rush. And what you're going to notice is when the offense goes ahead and takes a snap, they're going to have all day to throw the ball, right? And so you're eventually, now these guys are going to start route bouncing all over the field, and you're just trying to take away their route bounces. You want to essentially make sure that there's no instance where they can throw some of these passes, right? And so you're just, again, this isn't an easy drill. Like, I mean, these guys are moving on this play. My goodness. They have all the energy today, right? So they're route bouncing like crazy. And I mean, again, you could get a buddy to actually try to throw a pass, but you're trying to like really make sure that none of these guys, they could ever be thrown. And so really the only way to do that is to constantly be switching around to take away those route bounces, because that's a real thing that can happen in a game, having defend against route bounces, and you have to be really sound with your switch stick to be able to do that. So really bottom line with the switch stick, cover 3 clouds, a great defense to do it out of, because you have a whole bunch of underneath defenders, right? You have 4 underneath defenders, 3 deep zones, and you're able to get pressure on the quarterback from only a 4-man rush while you're working on your switch stick to take away their routes down the field. A really simple cover shell that gets taken to another level when you implement the switch stick. All right, again, so before I jump into the final defensive tips here from this 3-2-6 playbook, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I give you guys free ebooks and defense tutorials every single day here on College Football 26, and you absolutely don't want to miss out on any of them. Let's jump right into that final tip, which is going to be red zone defense, because in order to win games, you're going to have to hold the door at the goal line and make sure that instead of scoring touchdowns, they're kicking field goals. Let me show you the best red zone defense here from the 3-2-6 playbook. All right, so when I'm talking about RPO defense, I'm also referring a lot to goal-to-go situations when the ball's inside the 5-yard line. So really, like I told you earlier in the video, you have to be sound with your RPO defense, right? Because we understand a lot of people, they love to just walk up the line, snap these RPOs down in the red zone, and try to fall forward for a touchdown. Luckily, for us there, we're able to make a play. But like, this is one of the best RPOs here in this game for a reason, and a lot of the time they're going to be able to get blocks and get out there and score touchdowns. So it's like RPO defense really is the name of the game here in this game. And so it comes back to the same principles that I was showing you earlier in the video, right? You're going to make sure that you move this guy over here. You're going to, do the RPO check. You see the running backs A, you pass commit, you man up, you shade underneath, right? That's why making adjustments on defense pretty fast is important. I've talked about that in many of my other defensive tips, so make sure you check out those videos on the channel. But you're going to see how we're going to set up the RPO defense right here. We're going to make sure that we pass commit our defense, and now you're going to see how, again, we're able to take away that RPO, that pass aspect, and then they're going to hand the ball off eventually, right? You're going to be able to take away the pass for long enough to where they're forced to hand the ball off, but you have to be sound in your ability to stop the run. So that's why gap shooting is so important, right? We're going to take this snap, we're going to loop around, and you're going to see I'm able to meet that guy at the point of attack. We're going to take away the pass aspect with our hard flat and our man up, and then we're going to be there to loop around and shoot a gap with our user. So whether it's run defense, it's RPO defense down in the red zone, this is what you need to practice. This is really what you need to get good with, because that's what this game really comes down to. You have to be able to hold the door with the red zone. But After you take away the run, after you take away the pass, they're going to start actually like drop back passing, calling real pass plays. And so really, when that's the case, that's when you can get way more aggressive with your defenders because they're in the red zone, right? They're super close to the end zone. So it's like they don't want to put streaks on the field, for example, because they're just going to run out of the back of the end zone. They're not going to use corner routes. So you can afford to like get really aggressive, take some of these deep halves off the field. Like there's no reason to have deep halves on the field this close to the end zone. So again, you're going to, they're calling a pass play. You can put hard flats. You can man up their running back, for example, call something like this. And so really, they're going to take the snap, and we're going to be here to stop all of this. We have vert hooks. We have everything open or covered, really. And we're also going to be ready to switch stick if we absolutely need to, right? So we could switch stick onto, this flat zone defender. We could switch stick onto this vert hook and take away some of these routes. So really, bottom line in the red zone, you need to be ready to stop any type of RPO or run play by gap shooting with your user and then manning up the probable RPO threat if you get the RPO check confirmed that I showed you earlier in the video. But when they start drop back passing, get really aggressive with your man coverage defenders so that you can take away those quick passes because you don't really need to worry about streaks, corners, and crossers. All right, so if you found that complete guide to the 3-2-6 defensive playbook helpful here in CFB 26, make sure you go down below and hit that subscribe button. I break down defensive tips and tricks just like this every single day on College Football 26, and you don't want to miss out on any of them. But again, if you want that full 3-2-6 defensive ebook with my full video breakdowns, write-up screenshots of everything you're going to need to dominate on defense here in CFB 26, go to the link down below in the pinned comment, and you can use code YouTube to get 20% off. I can't wait to help you out on defense, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.